in the great, unfolding book of your life. My child, there are chapters you wish you could tear out. You know the ones. The pages are stained with tears, the ink blurred by sorrow, the narrative marked by events that cause your heart to ache with a familiar pain whenever you dare to reread them. These are your broken chapters. My beloved, the seasons of profound loss, the passages detailing your deepest mistakes, the storylines of failure, of shame, of a pain so intense it seemed to shatter the very plot of your existence. They, the world, may have glimpsed these chapters and, with their quick and often superficial judgment, have defined your entire story by them. They have pointed to these broken parts and declared your book a tragedy, its potential ruined, its beauty irrevocably marred. And you, my precious one, in the quiet solitude of your own regret, have so often believed them. You have lived with the weight of these broken chapters, haven't you? They have felt like blemishes upon your soul, permanent stains that you have tried to hide, to cover up, to pretend do not exist. You may have tried to seal these pages shut, to live as if they were never written, only to find them reopening in the quiet of the night, their painful prose echoing in your mind. The shame they carry can be a heavy burden. My child, whispering that you are damaged goods, that your story is flawed beyond repair, that these broken parts disqualify you from a future of wholeness, of joy, of purpose. When you look back, your own eyes, conditioned by the world's preference for flawless narratives, may have become your harshest critic. You see the foolish choices, the missed opportunities, the moments of weakness, the times you were wounded, or the times you inflicted wounds. And a deep ache of regret can wash over you, a longing to go back, to be the editor of your own past, to rewrite those painful scenes, to erase those regrettable lines. If only that chapter had never happened, your soul cries. My story might have been beautiful. You have believed the lie that your brokenness has ruined your book, that the story of your life is now a lesser tale because of these damaged, tear-stained pages. The world reinforces this belief. My child, it celebrates the stories of easy triumph, of unbroken success. It has little patience for the messy, complex narratives of redemption, for the profound beauty that can emerge from brokenness. And so, when it has seen your broken chapters, it has often judged, or pitied, or simply turned away, unable to see the divine potential concealed within the very pages that cause you such pain. Their judgment, their discomfort, their dismissal has only served to deepen your own sense of shame, your own desire to disown these difficult parts of your own sacred story. But I come to you now, my beloved, as the divine author, the one who has penned every word, who has permitted every plot twist, who sees the entire volume of your life not as you see it, but with eyes of infinite love, of profound purpose, of redemptive artistry. I come to tell you a truth that will begin to heal the very heart of your regret. I do not wish to tear out those broken chapters. I do not see them as blemishes that have ruined your story. On the contrary, my precious one, I see them as the very raw material, the rich, fertile soil from which the most beautiful, the most poignant, the most powerful verses of your entire life song will emerge. Your broken chapters, when surrendered to my hand, will become your most beautiful verses. This is a mystery of my grace. My child, a truth that runs counter to all worldly wisdom. I do not discard what is broken. I redeem it. I do not erase what is painful. I transform it. The very pages that you have read with shame, I intend to reread with you through the lens of my love, revealing the hidden grace, the unseen purpose, the profound strength that was being forged in your very crucible of brokenness, the parts of your story that you have deemed your greatest failures, your deepest sorrows, I will transfigure into testaments of my greatest power, my deepest comfort. I know the pain these chapters hold is real. I do not minimize the tears you have shed, the losses you have endured, the shame you have felt. I was with you in every moment, my heart aching with yours. But I also saw what you could not see. I saw the humility being cultivated in your failure, the compassion being etched into your heart by your sorrow, the resilience being forged in your struggle. I saw the profound preparation that was taking place, the hollowing out of a deeper capacity within you to contain my spirit, to express my love, to fulfill my purposes in a way that an unbroken, untested life never could. Your story is not ruined because of these chapters. My beloved, it is being made richer, deeper, more authentic, more powerful. A story without conflict is not an epic. A song without minor keys lacks emotional depth. A life without brokenness often lacks the capacity for true, heartfelt compassion. The very chapters you wish to erase are the ones that will, in my hands, give your life its most profound meaning, its most compelling testimony, its most beautiful, resonant poetry. So, I invite you, my child, to begin to look upon your own story with new eyes. With my eyes, cease your struggle to erase the past. Let go of the shame that has bound you to your broken chapters, and begin, with a fragile but willing heart, to trust me, your loving author, with these very pages. For I am even now at work, my pen of grace in hand, ready to take the broken prose of your past and transform it into the sacred, beautiful verses of your glorious, redeemed future. This is not the end of your story, my child. It is the beginning of its most beautiful part. Indeed, my cherished child, while your heart has been aching with the desire to tear out those painful, broken chapters from the book of your life, I, your loving author, have been holding the entire volume in my hands with a very different perspective. You see the tear-stained pages, the jagged edges of a story seemingly ripped apart, the passages that cause you to cringe in shame or weep with a sorrow that still feels fresh. And in your pain, you cry out for erasure, for a chance to rewrite, to pretend those parts never happened. But I, my beloved, I do not erase. I redeem, for I am the author who sees not just the torn page, but the whole magnificent story. And I know, with perfect wisdom and infinite love, how those very broken chapters are destined to become the most profound and beautiful verses in your entire sacred song. You see a blemish, a permanent stain upon your narrative, but I see a canvas being prepared for my most exquisite work of grace. You see a story ruined, its plot hopelessly marred, but I see a story deepened, given a complexity and a resonance that a tale of unbroken ease could never possess. My perspective is not limited to the pain of the single chapter. It encompasses the triumphant arc of the entire book. And I tell you, my child, those difficult chapters are not the end of your story. They are the very turning points. the crucibles of transformation that make the glorious ending not only possible, but all the more meaningful. To erase a chapter, my precious one, would be to create a void, a lie, an emptiness in your narrative. It would be to pretend that the lessons were never learned, the strength never forged, the compassion never born. It would be to deny the profound work that was accomplished in the very heart of your suffering. But I am the God of truth, and my redemption does not work by denial or erasure. It works by transformation. I do not tear out the page. I write upon it in a new and more glorious ink, the golden ink of my grace, my mercy, my restorative love. I take the broken prose of your pain and, with my skillful hand, I begin to reframe it, to imbue it with a new meaning, to transform it into the sacred poetry of your redeemed life. Think of a skilled restorer of ancient art. My child, when faced with a damaged masterpiece, they do not discard it. They do not paint over the cracks in a clumsy attempt to hide them. No, with meticulous care, they work with the damage, honoring the history of the piece, and through their loving skill, they integrate the former brokenness into a new and even more profound wholeness. The history of the damage is not erased, but it is redeemed, becoming part of the testament to the artwork's endurance and the restorer's skill. So it is with me and the story of your life. I am the divine restorer, and I am taking the broken chapters, the parts that cause you such shame and regret, and I am lovingly, patiently, masterfully transforming them into the most beautiful and compelling parts of your entire narrative, where you see a page blotted with the tears of failure. I see the perfect space to write a new verse of my forgiveness and your newfound humility, where you see a chapter filled with the darkness of despair. I see the ideal backdrop against which the star of my hope can shine with its most brilliant and captivating light, where you see a storyline fractured by betrayal or loss. I see the opportunity to weave in the unbreakable golden threads of my own faithfulness and my all-sufficient comfort. I see the potential, my beloved, that you, in your pain, cannot yet perceive. And I ask you to trust my authorial vision for your life. My love for your story, my child, includes every single chapter, not just the happy ones. I cherish the chapters of your struggle, for it was there that your heart cried out for me with a new desperation, a new sincerity. I value the chapters of your brokenness, for it was there that you were emptied of your own strength and made ready to receive mine. These chapters are not a source of disappointment to me, my child. On the contrary, they are often the very parts of your story that move my heart the most, for they reveal the courage of your spirit, the tenacity of your faith, and the profound depth of your need for me, a need that I delight to meet with the boundless resources of my grace. Let go of the desire to have a flawless story. My beloved, a flawless story is a shallow story. The most moving epics, the most enduring tales, are always those that explore the depths of both sorrow and joy, of failure and redemption, of brokenness and restoration. Your life, my child, is an epic, and its difficult chapters do not diminish its greatness. They are essential to it. They are what give your story its power to heal, its capacity to inspire, its ability to connect with other hurting hearts, and to offer them a genuine hope, a hope that is not born of naive idealism, but forged in the very fires of real-life adversity. As the author, I know how this story ends, and I know that when you reach those final, glorious chapters, you will look back upon these broken parts of your journey with new eyes. You will see, with profound gratitude, how they were the necessary catalyst for your growth, the very experiences that shaped you into the hero you were destined to become. You will understand that your most beautiful verses could only have been written upon the pages that were first stained with your most bitter tears. So, trust me with your book. My child, trust me with every chapter, especially the broken ones. Do not hide them from me in shame. Do not try to tear them out in regret. Instead, open them to me. Surrender them into my loving, skillful, redemptive hands, and watch with awe and wonder as I, your divine author, begin the beautiful, miraculous work of transforming your broken chapters into the most magnificent, most meaningful, and most eternally beautiful verses of your life's sacred song. And so, my cherished child, as you begin to trust that I, your divine author, do not discard the broken pages of your life, but see within them profound potential. Let me now draw you into the sacred artistry of the transformation itself. You have wondered, perhaps, how such a thing is possible. How can the chapters that are so deeply stained with the ink of sorrow, so marred by the jagged tears of failure and regret, ever become anything other than what they are? The secret, my beloved, lies in a divine and beautiful collaboration, a holy alchemy that takes the very substance of your pain and weds it to the power of my love. For this sacred rewriting, my child, requires two essential elements: the honest ink of your tears and the sovereign, skillful pen of my grace. Consider first your part in this. My beloved, the ink of your tears. For so long, you may have viewed your sorrow, your grief, your honest pain as something to be suppressed, a sign of weakness, a blemish upon your spirit. But I tell you, your authentic emotional response to the broken chapters of your life is not a hindrance to my work. It is an essential ingredient. Your tears, when shed in the sanctuary of my presence, are not just salt water. They are sacred, impotent ink. They are the liquid expression of a heart that is alive, a heart that has loved, a heart that has hoped, a heart that is willing to be vulnerable and true before its maker. Without this ink of honest sorrow, my child, the pages would remain dry, brittle, and unable to receive the new story I long to write. When you allow yourself to feel the full weight of your grief, when you bring your authentic pain to me without pretense or apology, you are, in essence, offering me the very ink I need to begin the work of redemption. These tears soften the old, hardened narratives. They make the page of your soul pliable, receptive to a new impression. They are a testament to the reality of the wound, and it is only a wound that is acknowledged that can be truly healed and transformed. To deny your tears, my child, is to deny me the very material I need to begin the beautiful work of rewriting your story. And then, my beloved, there is my part, the pen of my grace. My grace is not a passive sentiment, but an active, creative, and all-powerful force. It is the divine instrument I wield with infinite wisdom and unerring skill. As you offer me the ink of your honest sorrow, I take up the pen of my grace, and I do not erase the old story, for your history is part of who you are. Instead, I begin to write over it, around it, and through it. I begin to add new layers of meaning, to highlight hidden truths, to connect disparate events with the golden thread of my purpose, to transform the very meaning and impact of what was written before. Where the original text of your broken chapter read failure, I, with the pen of my grace, lovingly write over it the beautiful, illuminated script of humility and a deeper reliance on God. The original event does not change, but its ultimate meaning in the narrative of your life is utterly, gloriously transfigured. The painful memory is no longer a monument to your inadequacy, but a testament to the beginning of your true strength, which is found only in me, where the chapter was filled with the bleak prose of loss and abandonment. My pen of grace begins to inscribe upon it the soaring poetry of the discovery of my unfailing presence and a new capacity for compassion. The ache of what was lost is not denied, but it is now encompassed by a greater truth. The truth that my presence was with you, that your heart was being hollowed out to hold more of my love, and that you were being equipped with a profound empathy for other hurting souls. The chapter is no longer just about what was taken from you, but about the profound, eternal gifts that were being forged within you, where the pages are stained with the bitter ink of betrayal. My skillful pen begins to artfully weave around those stains a new narrative of the forging of discernment and the revelation of true faithfulness. The wound of the betrayal remains part of your story. Yes, but it is no longer the central theme of that chapter. It becomes, instead, the backdrop against which you learn to distinguish true from false, to place your ultimate trust not in finite human beings, but in my own unchanging, covenant-keeping heart. The scar becomes a source of wisdom, a powerful reminder of where your true security lies. This is a divine artistry at work. My child, it is a process of transfiguration. I do not create a fictional, perfect past for you. I take your real, often painful, past, and I redeem it. I give it a new significance, a new purpose, a new beauty, all by the power of my grace. The facts of the broken chapter may not change, but their interpretation, their resonance, their ultimate contribution to the epic of your life is utterly transformed from a source of shame into a source of strength, from a painful memory into a powerful verse in your song of redemption. This is a collaborative work, my beloved. It requires your willing participation. You bring the ink, your honest heart, your acknowledged pain, your surrendered tears, and I bring the pen, my limitless grace, my redemptive power, my all-wise purpose, and together, in the quiet intimacy of our communion, we begin the beautiful work of transforming your broken chapters into your most beautiful verses. So, do not be afraid to revisit those painful pages with me. My child, do not fear that bringing your sorrow to me will only deepen your pain. On the contrary, it is in the very act of offering that pain to me, of surrendering that broken chapter into my hands, that you allow the pen of my grace to begin its miraculous work. Trust me, you're a loving author. I know how to handle the most difficult, the most sorrowful, the most broken parts of your story. And my greatest delight is to take those very parts and make them shine with a beauty, a wisdom, and a glory that you, in your deepest despair, could never have imagined possible. The ink of your tears is precious. My child, let it flow, and trust the hand of the one who holds the pen. Who? And so, my precious child, as you begin to trust this sacred, collaborative process, as you bravely offer me the tear-stained ink of your authentic sorrow and yield to the loving skill of my pen of grace. Prepare your heart now to behold the magnificent transformation that begins to unfold. For the broken chapters of your past, which you once read as flat, painful prose, a disjointed narrative of failure and regret, are now in my hands, being transfigured into the most profound and beautiful verses of your life's sacred poem. The pain is not erased, my beloved, but it is redeemed, its very substance becoming the raw material for a poetry of such depth, such wisdom, such compassion, and such strength that it will become a source of wonder to your own soul and a testament of my grace to all who read your story. Where the prose of your broken chapter once read as a stark and desolate verse of wisdom lost, filled with the lament of foolish choices and missed opportunities, my pen of grace is now rewriting it into a beautiful, multi-layered stanza of wisdom gained, the hard-won lessons from your mistakes, the clarity born from your confusion, the discernment forged in the fires of your trials. These are no longer mere painful memories. They are becoming the lines of a profound and practical wisdom, a wisdom that is not theoretical, yet but has been earned, tested, and proven true. This verse, my child, will become a guiding light for your own future steps and a source of gentle, authentic counsel for other weary travelers you will encounter on the path. The broken prose of your failure is being transformed into the sacred poetry of your newfound wisdom, where the pages of your past were filled with the heartbreaking narrative of love's betrayal or friendship's end, a story of abandonment and profound relational pain. My spirit is now composing a new and tender verse of compassion's birth. Having known the depths of your own heartache, having felt the sting of being wounded by another, your heart, softened and watered by your own tears, now possesses an exquisite capacity for empathy. The memory of your pain is being transformed into a bridge of understanding that connects your heart to the hearts of other suffering souls. You will be able to comfort with a comfort that is not hollow, to listen with an ear that truly hears, to love with a tenderness that only a healed wound can produce. The broken prose of your relational sorrow is being transfigured into the sacred poetry of a deep and powerful compassion, where your story once contained a chapter of strength shattered, where you felt utterly defeated, powerless, and crushed by the circumstances of your life. I am now writing a triumphant verse of resilience forged, for in that very place of your perceived weakness, as you learn to cease your own striving and to depend wholly on me, a new kind of strength began to take root. It is not the brittle strength of the ego, but the supple, enduring strength of the spirit, a resilience that knows how to bend without breaking, a fortitude that is rooted in my own unshakable power. This verse in your life's poem will be a testament to my strength, made perfect in your weakness. A powerful declaration that true. Lasting strength is found not in never falling, but in the grace-empowered ability to rise again and again. The broken prose of your defeat is being transformed into the sacred poetry of your divine resilience. And where the narrative was simply one of meaningless suffering, a chapter that seemed utterly pointless, a random infliction of pain, my pen of grace is now composing the most magnificent verse of all, a verse of redemptive purpose and powerful testimony. This is the verse where all the other transformed elements converge. It declares that no part of your story, not even the most painful or shameful, has been wasted. It reveals how I have masterfully woven even the darkest threads into a beautiful design, how your deepest wounds have become the source of your greatest healing for others, how your most profound struggles have uniquely equipped you for your most significant purpose. This verse becomes the anthem of your life, my child, a song of praise to the God who can take the most broken of stories and make it a radiant testament to his love, his power, and his unwavering faithfulness. The broken prose of your pain is being transfigured into the sacred poetry of your life's powerful, God-glorifying testimony. Do you see, my beloved, the facts of your past may not change, but their meaning, their impact, their very essence in the story of your life is being utterly, gloriously transformed. What once brought you only shame will now become a source of profound wisdom. What once caused you only heartache will now be the wellspring of your deepest compassion. What once felt like your ultimate defeat will now be the foundation of your most unshakable strength. This is the miracle I am working in you. The beautiful poetry I am writing with the ink of your tears and the pen of my grace. This is not a process of forgetting, my child, but of reframing. It is about learning to read your own story with new eyes, with my eyes, and to see the emergent beauty, the divine artistry, the sacred poetry where once you saw only brokenness. And as you learn to read your past this way, you will find yourself able to face your future with a new and joyful confidence, knowing that no matter what challenges or even what new moments of brokenness may lie ahead, you serve a God who is a master poet, a divine author, who specializes in transforming every line of prose, however painful, into a verse of eternal beauty, meaning, and grace. So, let your heart be filled with hope. My precious one, the story is not over. The poet is not finished. The most beautiful verses are even now being written from the very chapters you once wished to erase. Your life is becoming a sacred poem, a song of redemption, and its beauty will resound for all eternity. And so, my cherished child, with your heart now awakened to the glorious possibility that the most painful, broken chapters of your life can indeed be transformed into its most beautiful verses. The pivotal moment of our co-creative work now arrives for this divine alchemy. This sacred rewriting of your story requires a profound and courageous act of faith on your part. It requires you to willingly, trustingly, yield the pen of authorship, which you have so often tried to wield yourself in an attempt to edit or erase your past, into my loving and infinitely more skillful hands. This, my beloved, is the sacred journey of surrender, the process of entrusting your broken chapters to me, so that I may begin my magnificent work of redemption. For so long, my child, you have held on to these broken chapters with a grip of shame and regret. You have hidden them away in the dark archives of your soul, believing their painful prose to be a final verdict on your worth, a permanent stain upon your story. Or you have toiled endlessly with the inadequate tools of your own human effort, trying to fix them, to rationalize them, to minimize their impact, and exhausting and ultimately fruitless labor. But I invite you now into a new way, a way of profound release, of trustful surrender. I invite you to open up those hidden archives, to bring those tear-stained pages into my loving light, and to say with your whole heart, Father, author of my life, I can no longer carry the shame of this chapter. I can no longer fix its brokenness. I yield it to you. Take my story, even its most painful parts, and rewrite it with your grace. This act of yielding, my precious one, begins with the conscious release of shame. Shame is the heavy anchor that keeps you tethered to the old, painful interpretation of your story. It is the voice that whispers, "This brokenness is who you are. It is your fault. It is your permanent identity." But this is a lie. My child, your broken chapters are part of your story, but they are not the sum of it, nor do they define your eternal worth. To release shame is to choose to believe my truth over the enemy's lie. It is to stand in the light of my unconditional love and to allow that love to wash away the stains of self-condemnation, to silence the accusing voices, and to affirm your inherent belovedness. A belovedness that was never diminished by the events of any chapter and integral to this release of shame. My beloved is the courageous and healing act of forgiveness. Often, these broken chapters involve the actions of others who have wounded you, betrayed you, or contributed to your shattering. As long as you hold on to bitterness and resentment, you remain chained to that painful past, giving those who hurt you continued power over your present peace and your future story. Forgiveness, my child, is the key that unlocks those chains. It is not a denial of the wrong that was done, nor is it a feeling you must conjure. It is a conscious choice, an act of your will, empowered by my grace, to release the offender from the debt you feel they owe you, and to entrust them and your own wounded heart into my just and loving hands. As you forgive, you take back the pen from their hand and place it into mine, allowing me to begin rewriting that chapter, not as a story of their power over you, but as a story of your victory and healing in me. And just as importantly, my precious one, this journey often requires you to extend that same grace of forgiveness to yourself. You have reread the pages of your past mistakes, your foolish choices, your moments of weakness, and have condemned yourself with a harshness that even I do not possess. You must learn to let go of this self-condemnation, to accept the fullness of my grace, which covers all your failings. Forgive yourself for not knowing then what you know now. Forgive yourself for being human, for being imperfect. As you extend this forgiveness to yourself, you release your own grip on the painful narrative of your failure and create the space for me to write a new verse of my redemptive power and your hard-won wisdom. Trust, my beloved, is the very atmosphere in which this sacred revision takes place. It is a choice to believe that I, your divine author, am both good and skillful, that my intentions for you are only and always love, that my wisdom is perfect, that my power is sufficient to redeem any story, no matter how broken it may seem. It is to trust that when you yield your most painful chapters into my hands, I will not handle them carelessly. I will not use them against you, but I will treat them with the utmost reverence, with the tender care of a master artist who sees the profound potential for beauty, even in the most shattered of materials. This surrender is not a one-time event, my child, but an ongoing posture of the heart, It is a daily, sometimes moment by moment, choosing to yield your story with all its complexities to me. When a painful memory from a broken chapter arises, instead of allowing it to pull you back into shame or regret, consciously offer it to me again. Father, I give this memory to you. I give this pain to you. Rewrite this. Redeem this. Transform this for your glory. Every time you do this, my beloved, you are cooperating with my divine artistry. You are adding your amen to my redemptive work. And as you practice this art of yielding the pen, my child, a profound peace will begin to settle upon your spirit. The heavy burden of managing your own story, of trying to fix your own past, will be lifted. The anxious striving to present a flawless narrative to the world will cease. And in its place will come a quiet, restful confidence, a deep assurance that the author of your life is a God of infinite love and redemptive power, and that your story, in his hands, is not only safe, but is being transformed into a masterpiece of grace. So do not be afraid, my precious one. Open the book of your life to me. Point me to the pages that cause you the most pain, the chapters you have hidden away in shame. Yield the pen into my loving hand, and trust me, your author, your redeemer, your most ardent admirer, to begin the beautiful, miraculous work of transforming your most broken chapters into your most beautiful, most powerful, and most eternally significant verses. And so, my precious child, as you courageously yield the pen of your story into my loving hands, as you surrender even the most broken and tear-stained chapters for my divine revision, a quiet miracle begins to unfold, not just on the pages of your past, but within your very perception of them. I invite you now, my beloved, to do what once felt impossible, what once brought only pain, to open the book of your life once more, and to begin reading your own story with new eyes, with eyes that have been anointed with my grace, with a perspective that has been illuminated by my redemptive love. And as you do, you will find, to your own astonishment, that the chapters you once wished to erase have been transformed, their meaning transfigured, their essence redeemed, and you will be filled not with the old shame and regret, but with a new and profound sense of peace, of gratitude, and of awe at my sacred, loving artistry. You will turn to a page that once held only the stark prose of failure, and you will find that my pen of grace has not erased the events, but has overlaid them with the beautiful, shimmering poetry of humility learned, of dependence discovered, of a strength made perfect in your weakness. You will read the account of your mistake, but you will no longer feel the sharp sting of self-condemnation. Instead, you will feel a gentle, compassionate understanding for the person you were then, and you will see, with a new clarity, how that very misstep became the necessary turning point that led you into a deeper reliance on me, a more authentic faith. The page no longer screams of your failure. It whispers of my faithfulness. And your heart, instead of aching with regret, will be filled with a quiet gratitude for the lesson, for the mercy, for the God who can use even our errors to draw us closer to himself. You will bravely turn to the chapter that chronicled a season of profound loss, a story whose every line once echoed with the desolation of abandonment or the finality of grief. You will brace yourself for the familiar wave of sorrow, But as your new eyes scan the page, you will perceive something more. You will see the golden thread of my presence woven through the dark fabric of your pain. A thread you could not perceive when you are living through the moment. You will see how, in your loneliness, I drew nearer than ever before. You will recognize how my unseen arms were upholding you when you had no strength left to stand. The chapter, my child, is no longer just a story of what was taken from you. It has become a testament to who was with you. And in this new reading, the bitter ache of loss begins to be soothed by the sweet balm of my unfailing companionship. And a peaceful gratitude for my constant care begins to blossom in your heart. With these new eyes, you will look upon the pages scarred by betrayal, by injustice, by the cruel words or actions of others, where once you saw only your own victimization, your own powerlessness, your own wounds. You will now begin to discern the sacred work I was doing in the aftermath. You will see how those very wounds, when surrendered to me, became the fertile ground for a new compassion to grow. You will understand how the injustice you endured refined your own heart for justice, how the betrayal you suffered taught you the immense value of loyalty and the true nature of my covenant-keeping love. The narrative is no longer defined by what they did to you, but by what I, your God, was building in you as a result. The story shifts from one of painful injury to one of powerful, purposeful becoming. As you read your life with these new eyes, my beloved, a profound sense of integration begins to occur. The broken chapters are no longer isolated, shameful episodes that you must keep separate from the rest of your story. You begin to see how they are intricately, beautifully, purposefully connected to the chapters of your strength, your wisdom, your joy. You see that the beautiful verses of your present could not have been written without the broken prose of your past. The story of your life begins to feel whole, coherent, meaningful in its entirety. The old dissonance, the feeling of being at war with your own history, gives way to a harmonious acceptance, a peaceful understanding that all of it, the light and the shadow, the joy and the sorrow, has been used by me, your loving author, to create the unique and beautiful masterpiece that is you. This is the freedom of a redeemed story. My child, it is the freedom to own every part of your journey, without shame, without regret, knowing that it is all held within the loving, redemptive narrative of my grace. You no longer need to hide parts of your soul from others or from your own consciousness. You can stand in the fullness of your story with all its complexities and know that it is a story of my triumph, my wisdom, my love displayed in and through your life, my joy, my precious one, is in witnessing you read your own story with this new, grace-filled perspective. It is to see your heart heal, your spirit find peace, your mind be filled with awe at my ways. This is our shared reading, my child, a beautiful communion where we look back together, not to dwell in the pain, but to celebrate the redemption, to marvel at the transformation. This new way of seeing your past will also transform how you view your present and your future. You will no longer live in fear of making new mistakes, of encountering new broken chapters, for you now know, with an unshakable, experiential certainty, that there is no experience, no failure, No sorrow so great that my pen of grace cannot redeem it, cannot transform it into a beautiful and purposeful verse in your ongoing song. This is the profound peace, the unshakable confidence that comes from truly knowing the heart of your divine author. So continue, my beloved, to read your life with these new eyes I have given you. See my handiwork, trace the golden threads of my love and my grace, and let your heart be filled with a deep and lasting peace, a profound and joyful gratitude for the magnificent, redemptive, and utterly beautiful story that is yours. And so, my cherished child, as you learn to read the story of your past with new eyes, seeing the profound beauty and divine artistry that has transformed your most broken chapters into sacred verses, let this truth now become the unshakable foundation for every chapter yet to be written. I, your loving author, am not finished with your story. The book of your life is still unfolding, and my commitment to you is to continue this sacred, co-creative work to ensure that every future experience, every new chapter, whether of joy or of trial, will also be woven into the magnificent, overarching narrative of my love. Your life, my beloved, is an epic written in love, and its most glorious verses are still to come. The peace you now feel as you look upon your redeemed past is not meant to be a fleeting comfort, but a lasting confidence that you can carry into all of your tomorrows. You no longer need to fear the future. My child, no longer need to dread the possibility of new broken chapters, for you now know the heart of your author. You know my character. You know, from your own profound experience, that my grace is sufficient for any circumstance, that my power is made perfect in any weakness, and that my redemptive artistry can transform any pain into poetry. This knowledge, my beloved, changes everything. It liberates you to live with a new courage, a new openness, a new and joyful anticipation of what lies ahead should you face new seasons of trial, new moments of brokenness. You will now be able to face them differently. You will not see them as a sign that your story has gone wrong, but as a new opportunity for my grace to be displayed, a new raw material from which I can craft yet another beautiful verse of resilience, of wisdom, of compassion. You will know that even in the midst of a new struggle, I am with you, my pen of grace already in hand, ready to begin the work of redeeming that experience, of weaving it into the greater, glorious narrative of your life. This assurance, my child, is your fortress, your sanctuary, your unshakable peace in a world that will always have its challenges. The overarching theme of your life's epic, my precious one, is and always will be my unfailing love and my relentless grace. While individual chapters may contain motifs of sorrow, of struggle, of waiting, the grand narrative, the story as a whole, is a testament to my unwavering commitment to you, my passionate pursuit of your heart, my delight in your becoming. Every verse, every line, every word ultimately points back to the central, immutable truth. As you continue to walk with me, you will see this theme emerging with ever greater clarity, the golden threads of my love and my grace shining ever more brightly, binding every part of your story into a coherent, beautiful, and magnificent whole. I invite you to live as a hero of this epic, my child, with a heart fully alive to the adventure of it all, knowing that the author is good and that the ultimate ending is glorious. You are free to live with a holy boldness, a joyful abandon. You can love extravagantly, for you know your heart is held by a love that is eternal. You can give generously, for you know your source is my own infinite abundance. You can risk for the sake of my kingdom, for you know that even a perceived failure can be transformed into a verse of profound learning and divine redirection. You are free, my beloved, to live a large, beautiful, and significant story. For you know that the one writing it with you is the master of all epics. My promise to you is to see this story through to its magnificent conclusion. I will not leave your book unfinished. I will not allow the final chapters to be anything less than a glorious culmination of all that has gone before. The beauty, the wisdom, the strength, the compassion that have been forged in you will find their full and perfect expression. Your unique purpose will be fulfilled, and your life, this beautiful, complex, and gloriously redeemed story, will be a song of praise to me, its author, and a source of hope and inspiration for countless others for generations to come. Your life, my child, is a sacred poem being written by my own hand. The broken chapters have and will continue to become its most beautiful, most poignant, most powerful verses. Trust me with the chapters yet unwritten. Walk with me in the joyful confidence of a protagonist who knows their author is both all-powerful and all-loving, and rest in the profound peace that comes from knowing that your story is a masterpiece in progress, a divine epic written in love, and its beauty, its meaning, its glory will resound for all eternity. Now, my precious child, as this great story of your life continues to unfold, let your heart be at perfect rest. Know that you are the hero of a magnificent tale, one that I, your God, am writing with an ink of unwavering love upon the pages of time. Every chapter, whether bright with joy or shadowed with trial, is held within my purposeful and redemptive design. The broken prose of your past is even now being transformed into the sacred poetry of your future. Rest in my authorship, my beloved, and let the peace of knowing your story is a masterpiece of grace be your constant and abiding song.